Well, in my ongoing endeavor to try and immerse myself in the whole Pokemon world, seeing as we decided to open up an entire booster box of Pokemon cards recently, live on stream, which, by the way, I'm not addicted to gambling or cardboard crack, but, you know, it is a bit cathartic, and realistically, I've been kind of getting my head round more into the Pokemon world, and if I can cross off two things in one sitting by watching a Jaiden video and something Pokemon related, then you damn well better be sure that is some slop-whirly slop. Something called my first Pokemon Nuzzlocke, whatever that means.
Community, there's a set of self-imposed rules you can add to the games to make them more challenging, called a Pokemon Nuzzlocke. You can only catch the first Pokemon you run into per route. If a Pokemon faints, it dies, and you can't use it anymore. And you have to nickname your Pokemon to get more attached to them. That means if you aren't careful, you can technically lose a Pokemon game under those conditions. I've wanted to do another.
You know, this reminds me a little bit. There are a bunch of, like, quote-unquote Pokemon fan games, right? Like Pokemon Uranium or Pokemon Match. You know, the one where you, like, make your own Pokemon of merging them together and everything. Like, I find it kind of hysterical that the best Pokemon games are generally the ones that are made by the community. Because everyone and their mothers knows that most mainline Pokemon games are about as original as unbuttered bread. Like, yeah, whoopee! Glad to see that after 20 years, Pokemon games have had literally zero innovation, requiring the community to innovate the entire franchise for them.
Nuzzlocke for the longest time. I've started a couple in the past, but never actually got to finish any because busy. But today's the day that all changes. Gosh. I decided to make a video on my first full...
What the fuck? Busy? Girl, you play video games for a living. You're an animator. You don't have a 9-to-5. Yeah, get a real job, and then you'll know what busy is. Said every cisgendered white male working 9-to-5 with 2.5 kids that's never even heard of YouTube before. Wait! Did you know that dehydration is the leading cause of not enjoying Makari slop? And we can't be having that now, can we? Look at Twitch chat. They are thirsty. Fear not, though, because Kari's got your back. We've partnered up with the amazing people at WAIFU Shakers to get you your very own Kari-themed WAIFU Shaker. Fill it with whatever you want. Soda, water, Kari saliva. Because at the end of the day, getting a little bit of Kari in your life is truly the way to enjoy Kari slop. And using code Makari, you can get 15% off your order right now. So what are you waiting for? Hydrate today with Kari.
Attempt at a Pokemon Ruby Nuzzlocke. Let's see how it went. After breaking free from the back of the moving truck my mom stuffed me in and introducing myself to the neighbor Brendan, the kid that I always thought was a monkey said that he heard screaming up ahead.
Okay, real talk. When you guys played these older Pokemon games, which, by the way, might get bricks thrown at me for this opinion, these older Pokemon games, way more satisfying. I mean, I played, this is when I played Pokemon, you know, I had my Game Boy, my DS, my Switch, all that kind of stuff. I played all the Pokemon games up until, I think it was Sapphire, you know, the ones with Garudon and the big red one, the big blue one with Team Aqua and Magma. That one. I love Pokemon. In fact, I still remember to this day, I would go to, like, the social club thing that was, like, for kids back in the day, which was, like, for where parents were at work and they couldn't look after their kids during the day, so they sent them to this little social group so they could hang out. I went to one of these, and there were, like, a bunch of kids that had Pokemon, and at the time, I didn't have the new Pokemon, so I'd ask this kid, hey, can I play the new Pokemon game, which I think at the time was Gold and Silver? God, I'm old. And he was like, sure, just please don't save it. So I was like, sure, I won't save it. Because, you know, the gimmick back in the day was that you could only have one save at a given time. I don't know if that's still true. And if it is, fuck you, Nintendo, for being egregiously uninnovative. Like, why? You're literally making a problem for no reason at this point. Like, the idea of having one save back in the day was because it was a limitation of the freaking hardware. Anyway, rant aside. So he let me start a new game with the promise that I wouldn't save it. So I didn't. I didn't save it. I loaded into Gold. I think I picked up Cyndaquil as my starter because, you know, Cyndaquil is based on the best Pokemon ever. What I did do, however, was drop his Game Boy. Which didn't damage the Game Boy. However, it did knock the cartridge out of the Game Boy, which then corrupted his main save. And The worst part about that was the fact that he was only 3 Pokemon away from completing his Pokedex. I was not very well liked after that. And unlike most times where I would blame my sister or someone else for my bullshit, in this instance, I took it on the chin and was like, dude, I don't know what happened. It just, like, slipped out of my fingers, you know, butterfingers, oopsie poopsie. Can I give you Can I give you £5? Will £5 compensate you for the hours and hours of time you spent? And hey, look, at least now you get to re-experience the whole thing. The worst part about it was, you know how, like, Pokemon works where you have to buy both versions and trade with each other to get all the Pokemon? He'd traded with so many different people from his local Pokemon club to get some of the Pokemon that he couldn't get on his version. And, you know, that definitely isn't just a mechanic that's made for the sake of selling the same game twice. No. Nintendo would never capitalize on people's gratuitous spending habits and make you buy the same game twice for the sole purpose of completing the game, rather than, you know, giving you a whole-ass game to begin with. No, they would never do that. But that, again, rant aside. He had all those Pokemon, and I felt terrible. I kept poking him on MSN. Yes, this is how old that is. I was poking him on MSN, begging him to forgive me. And he never did. He never spoke to me after that day. So anyway, that was my experience of Pokemon and how I ruined one of my friends' existence.
Said that he heard screaming up ahead. Professor Birch is getting mauled by a level 2 Poochyena, so I let Torchic out, and she scratches the crap out of it. He gifts me Torchic for rescuing him, and I name her Teriyaki, my first Pokemon. Walking up the route more, I run into Brendan, who challenges me to a battle, where Teriyaki proceeds to also scratch the crap out of his Mudkip. Teriyaki, you're 2 for 2. Doing great. Professor Birch gives me 5 Pokeballs, and the Nuzlocke has officially started. I walked back up to catch my first Pokemon and ran into a Zigzagoon.
Yeah, I keep forgetting we're not here to talk about the base game, are we?
Not the best, but I can work with this. You know, I think we're gonna have a really awesome adventure. Dude! So Teriyaki one-shotted Zigzagoon with a critical hit scratch, but whatever. Contain your murder a little bit, alright, guy?
Dude, what do you honestly expect? You chose the Fire-type Pokemon. The trend of Fire-type Pokemon in every single game, for starters, is that they start as a fiery little brat and they evolve into a goddamn fighting, maniacal, sadistic maniac. If you choose the fire type, you're choosing violence. I don't know what Pokemon's obsession is with the fire start type and turning them into some egregiously violent fighter type, but you know what? It is what it is. It is what it is. That's why Cyndaquil was the most based one, because at least he evolved into just a regular-ass fire type that looked like a giant ferret.
102 is right around the corner, and that's where I was able to catch Corn the Seedot. Look at us, couple of friends ready to take on the Hoenn region together. After watching the weird kid Wally struggle to catch his first Pokemon, I continued on to Route 104 and found a little Talo in the grass.
Ah, little pigeon-looking shitbag.
And hungry. Oh yeah, I know your name. In Petalburg Forest, a Team Magma grunt jumps some random professor, so Ari and Teriyaki peck his eyes out.
Oh no! Violence!
Oh, hello, Shroomish. I'm gonna name you Onion. I make it to Rustboro, and while getting ready to take on Roxanne's gym...
Like, say what you will about the small amount of innovations that they've done for, Pokemon over the years, the one thing that will never change is naming your Pokemon after loved ones, pets that you own personally, or hated enemies that you want to really stick it to. Or calling them random memes you find. Like, I called one of my, executes at one point Scrambled.
Teriyaki kills another Zigzagoon I was about to catch. What's your problem with Zigzagoons, dude? But it turned out alright, because she also ended up evolving. Onion was able to destroy Roxanne with ease, and we got our first gym badge. Exiting the gym, we catch a glance that Team Magma is up to no good again. Something about the
Team Magma and Team... Okay.
And this old man...
Real talk. Throw bricks at me for this opinion. Team Aqua and Team Magma were way more interesting than Team Rocket ever were. Like, I don't think there's been a single other Pokemon game where there's been a, like, villainous faction that were as interesting as Team Aqua and Magma. And I stand by that sentiment, Miromi. Team Magma did nothing wrong. And back in my day, back when I was a kid in high school, when we were playing these Pokemon, Sapphire and Ruby, you were either a Magma kid or an Aqua kid. And this separated our school playground more divisively than volleyball practice. Like, it wasn't about jocks or nerds anymore. It was about if you were a slippery boy or a hot stud. You know? That was the thing that divided our school.
And exclaims that they stole his Pico. Here's your dog. Also, you're coming with me. The mayor thanks me by turning me into his errand boy, and I arrive in Dewford to give a letter to Stephen. All right, what do we got? Okay,
you're coming with me.
After finding Stephen, it was time to take on Brawley, the next gym leader. Ari's a stone-cold killer and easily earned MVP in that fight. Things were going well. 2 badges in, and the team is looking good. On my way to the next city, I caught a tentacle on the beach.
Ah, yes, Morile. The Pokemon that I look back on, realizing that I had a thing for Vor even at a young age. Damn.
Squidward. And after beating Team Magma and Brendan again in Slateport, it was time again to get ready for the gym battle with Watson. But as I was fighting some trainers, Chomps the Mawile got electrocuted a bit too hard and was killed.
Oh no!
Jaiden,
they dead.
Let's battle. I want to show you how strong I am. Okay. Ari, this is an electric gym. You're not allowed to fight in here, so...
You see, that's why the way you play this game is if you're doing some challenge like this, whatever Pokemon you get, you go back to the mid-level content that you were doing beforehand, and you grind 200 boars. You farm those boar asses until you are way over-leveled what you need to be, and then you just stomp everything.
Oh, you can just wait outside. While battling the gym trainers, Onion evolved into Breloom, and together with Teriyaki, they were able to get another victory. Now we were riding high. 3 gym badges in and no main casualties. With our massive confidence, we decided to...
Something's telling me Jaiden doesn't like Morile, but I'm not sure what's really giving that impression.
...to take on the Winstraight family's challenge of beating all their family members. I had Squidward out front to get him some experience.
I remember this. I remember accidentally engaging with this the first time I went up to it and getting my ass absolutely handed to me. Like, I fought the first one, easy peasy. Fought the second one. Oh, okay. So I was like, that's it, right? There's no way there would be more that comes out. And then the teenager goes back in, then the dad comes out. The dad goes back in, the mum comes out. And I'm like, when will it stop? Stop beating my ass! Like, that was a very weird experience.
But we ran into some troubles with Grandma. Oh god, it's gonna do a high jump kick. We can take him out, but I need a clean switch first.
At which point, you are to decide whomst of your lineup deserves to die. I'm sorry, little plump, little round thing. Your life is worth less than my tentacool Squidward guy. So therefore, you will be sacrificed for the greater good.
So I had to sacrifice Hushchild the Whismer, but honestly, that was the safest move to ensure no one else died. Goodbye, Hushchild.
The greater good.
You might be missed. While we were heading to Fall Arbor, fighting some trainers, Ari evolved. Oh, look at my big bird. Oh, look at you.
Hi, Freezy. Good morning.
We were almost to town, but we had to get through the sooty grass on 113. Oh, jeez. All right, Barf, get in there with the rest of them. I walked into Meteor Falls to see Team Aqua. And
man, imagine being one of the Pokemon that gets caught after you have your lineup of Pokemon. Like, yeah, you're gonna catch me and use me to battle other Pokemon and make me really strong, right? Right? You're not just gonna leave me in the computer forever, are you? You wouldn't do that, right? Right? And now I'm going to remind you guys that you probably all somewhere have save files of earlier Pokemon games, and there are Pokemon who've been sat in your computer for 20 plus years waiting for you to release them. Guys, maybe it's about time you load up your old Pokemon game and release the pixels. Guys, they're not just pixels. They are your loved Pokemon, and you've abandoned them, just like PewDiePie abandoned his dog in Minecraft.
And Team Magma arguing about water and rocks.
Giving you that Toy Story fallacy.
So get over here, Zubat. They kept complaining, and I had to go up the volcano they were blocking to fight Maxi, the Team Magma leader.
Maxi.
That was a hard fight. Onion and Teriyaki were able to take out his Mighty Anna and Camerupt, but his Golbat hit hard.
Ooh, that's
I ended up
boy.
having to switch in Ari and double team up to win the battle. Not the most honorable of strategies, but it worked and we're moving on.
Even these older videos, I can fully respect the animation quality. Like, I know back, like, this is what, 3 years old, 4 years old? 5 years? God, because I think back here, Jaiden was doing all of her own animations, if I'm not mistaken. And you can kind of tell this is like, not lower budget, but definitely earlier before she had the budget and the ability to hire other animators, which I think is really cool.
On the way down the volcano, I ran into a mat shop. Oh, hello there, Chad.
Oh, that little guy.
What? You're a female? Did I stutter? We arrived in Level Ridge Town and started
Wow, okay. Can't believe that Jaiden doesn't respect Pokemon's pronouns. That's crazy. This is gonna be a twit longer for sure.
Getting through Flannery's gym. During that time, Squidward was almost killed by a Fury swiping Kecleon. Fury swiping.
Kecleon!
Oh my gosh, that does a lot of damage. Stop!
That's a lot of damage!
But when it came time to battle, he pulled his weight and more. Honestly, with the team, there wasn't much I could have done to Flannery's fire Pokemon, but Squidward came in clutch by learning Bubble Beam, and it was all over for her.
God, there were just like some abilities that just were made different. Fucking Hyper Beam. Like, the second any of your Pokemon learn a couple specific abilities, the game just became trivial. Like, I remember when my Blastoise learned Bubble Beam in my very first Pokemon Blue playthrough. Because, you know, if you play Pokemon Blue, you gotta get Blastoise. You know, you learn Bubble Beam, Hyper Beam, Solar Beam, God, what else? There were just some abilities that were not made equal, clearly.
Badge 4, under our belt. Brendan met up with us outside the gym to give us goggles so we could walk in the sandstorms. I found a claw fossil, and Anorith was born. I didn't know what to name it, so my friend named him Gary. Now it was time for the 5th gym.
Gary!
After some training, Chad evolved into Machoke, and the team was...
You know what the best part about this is?
Machoke.
Considering this Machoke is female, muscle waifu, anyone? Muscle waifu? Muscle... Wait, no, wait. That means it's flashing its tits at us. Are we allowed to watch this? Because it's not wearing a bra. Okay, you know what? Gender equality discussion aside, guys, look, I'll be honest. Back in the early days, fucking Machoke. What am I saying? Well, not just the early days. Now, right in this moment, Machoke just hits me different. It's not just stupid thick Pokemon. Duh.
And the team was
Machoke hits
up.
me like Lot Bunny hits the rest of you guys.
And after realizing I was in trouble...
Yeah, that doesn't do a lot of damage.
I managed to squeak by with more double teams. Ari was barely able to take out the first slacking, so when the second, stronger one came out, I knew I had to use a different strategy.
I'm you, but
I brought
better.
out Onion to leech seed it and try and get more chip damage in, which worked, but he was also killed by Slacking's facade, which I thought he could
not
take.
Onion!
Chad was able to finish off the rest of the fight, but that was the first death that actually hurt.
Aww.
I'm not crying. Someone's just chopping onions in here.
Oh, that's in such bad taste. That's in such bad taste, Jaiden. You little shit. Oh, you did that on purpose. You purposely named it Onion so that if it died, you could make that joke. I have zero respect for that terrible, terrible humor.
But with every down, there's an up, and Corn stepped up and was ready to fill Onion's spot. While passing through Mauville again, Watson asked us to help him turn off the city's generator, and while down there I found a Magnemite. You wanna come with?
Magnemite, best Pokemon.
Okay. We kept on our way, catching Spurky the Electrike, and while fighting some trainers, Corn survived.
I don't remember Pokemon being caked up like that. Yeah, I don't remember there being a Pokemon that was chill like that. Damn, boy. Damn. God damn. That boy thick.
Corn survived 2 very close calls. He took a Swords Dance boosted Fury Cutter by Ninjask, and a misclick from me, which resulted in him tanking a wing attack from a Talo. No. Corn, no! Oh. Dude, Corn, I'm so sorry. You're such a trooper. Good news is Squidward evolved while training, so that's neat. We arrived in Fortree.
Yes! Tentacruel! Hentai. I called my first ever Tentacruel hentai. You all know why.
We arrived in Fortree City, and this was a gym I was really nervous about. Not only did we not have a good team to take on a flying-type gym, but Winona's Altaria is notorious for sweeping teams if she sets up too many dragon dances. I went to the grass to train up the team, and the worst happened. Corn was killed by pin missile from a Zigzagoon.
What? You're level 29, fella? Caked up sexy boy? Got owned by a level 25 Zigzagoon? It's like going to McDonald's and getting shanked by the homeless guy living in the toilet there. Dude's cracked up out of his mind, and yet you still somehow get jumped by him? What are you doing?
Wait, no. Stop.
You can't stop the rock, baby.
Corn! You monster! How could you do this? Is this why you kept...
You know what you do? You know what you do there? To get your own back? You catch that motherfucker. If Zigzagoon killed your Corn, you catch it, name it something obscene, and make it understand that you caused the problem, you fix the problem.
Trying to kill all the Zigzagoons? I want to think that Corn sacrificed himself because he knew we were at too much of a disadvantage going into Winona's gym, and by opening up a space, we could get the type advantage we needed to stand a chance. With a heavy heart, I brought Zip Zap Zop the Magnemite to the...
Yeah, baby! My Magnemite, baby, back in action. Let's go. Magnemite, best Pokemon. 100 best Pokemon. There's no Pokemon better than Magnemite.
Team, and realized how much more grinding I was gonna have to do. I had to fight so many Merrills to get Zip Zap Zop on par with the rest of the team. You wanna know how many? The move Thunderbolt can be used 15 times before it runs out, and I had to go back to the Pokemon Center almost 6 separate times to refill it, meaning Zip...
Sounds like you wouldn't deal with playing World of Warcraft in this day and age, because that's a casual grind if you ask me. That's like a casual Tuesday morning grinding emblems in World of Warcraft. Yeah, that ain't nothing.
Zap Zop killed more than 80 Marill that were living in that lake. Winona led with Swell.
At what point does somebody call the local Pokemon Rangers to report on vicious crimes and murderous shenanigans happening in the local area? That's not grinding, that's genocide.
Which Zip Zap Zop was able to take out. But she immediately brought out Altaria, which made me very scared because I know she's got Earthquake on that thing. I didn't have a clean switch, and I knew no one on the...
Pardon me for questioning the logic of Pokemon. But, you know, Earthquake, right? Earthquake. Cracks all over the floor. Huh? I'm very confused. Does the world of Pokemon not abide by the laws of physics? Oh, of course it doesn't. It's fucking Pokemon. You know, I'm sure there's some Pokemon professor in the chat that's going to be like, actually, it's because the earthquake causes concussive waves that cause damage to any Pokemon that's not stood directly on it, actually.
Very scared because I know she's got Earthquake on that thing. I didn't have a clean switch, and I knew no one on the team could take 2 hits from this Cloud Bird. So I ultimately decided that I'd have to have Zip Zap Zop paralyze it in exchange for his death. Goodbye, Zip Zap Zop. You weren't here for long, but your efforts will not be in vain. Oh my god!
My boy! Yeah! My boy coming in strong! You take that shit like it's the boss! That's how you do it, baby! Magneton, more like Magna-owned! That's what I'm talking about!
God, somehow Zip lived the earthquake on 2 HP like a mad lad. Corn must have been looking down on us for that one because there was definitely a 90% chance Zip Zap Zop was supposed to die there. With that string of luck, I was able to switch Ari in for Zip Zap Zop to predict another earthquake and started chipping away at the Altaria, which was not going to be easy.
Truly a Pokemon series moment.
To stack up those dragon dances, which make her moves even more powerful, and I was legitimately sweating.
I'm cooked. I'm cooked. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I see this and all I can think of is... God, Terminal Montage just hits different.
And I was legitimately sweating. But with what little luck
Mods, can we get a bird up emote, please?
Got greedy and tried to get in that last dragon dance, and that's when Ari was able to swoop in and snipe that kill.
Yeah! Fuck him up!
If that would have decided to attack
superior
at any
bird
point,
that
she
is
would have
up.
one-shotted anyone and everyone on my team. Thank you, Corn. You shined your
all praise to the Corn.
Onto us.
Your sacrifice has been worth it.
I was able to heal up Zip Zap Zop and sweep the rest of her team. The 6th gym badge was
Hell
ours.
yeah! This is what I'm talking about. Magneton, more like Magnetoned. That's why you don't sleep on Magneton. And don't even get me started. There is no evolution of Magneton. There is no evolution. I don't give a I don't give a You do not evolve your Magneton. Magneton is peak evolution at its finest.
Outside the Safari Zone, I found a Duskull I was able to catch. I tried to have Gary on the team since resurrecting him from the dirt, but he honestly has, like, no moves that do damage, so I decided to replace him with Sin. We arrived in Lily
Back to the shadows with you!
Cove, and I tried fishing on the beach for a Pokemon, but Chad punched the Whalmer I reeled up too hard and killed it. We stormed Team Magma's base, and while trying to get the Master Ball they've got on the ground...
Do you want to know how bad I was at my first Pokemon game? I remember this clear as day. The Master Ball is supposed to be used for, like, the legendaries or, like, the rare Pokemon. You remember, like, in the original Pokemon Blue and Red, you're going through the mountain before getting to the Elite Four, and there's a Golem. Was it a Golem? A Graveler, I think. A Graveler? There's a Pokemon in that mountain that blocks your way, and it's like a Graveler or a Golem or something. Yeah, Victory Road. There was a Pokemon that blocks your way. I used my fecking Master Ball on a Graveler. I was not a very smart person.
An Electrode exploded and almost killed Chad, which was uncalled
I was also
for.
12.
After beating their admin, they escaped into a submarine, and I went on to fight the next gym. Tate and Liza were the first double battle gym leaders, and I didn't realize until too late that I was just a tad under-leveled for them.
They don't have any more than 2 Pokemon, so I think we should be okay. 42?!
Oh no. That's what I'm saying. All you have with you is the local power grid and a very spicy boy. This ain't gonna do.
Zop made a good duo, being able to confuse and paralyze them, but Solrock managed to get off a sunny day powered...
So, like, that's something that I never really cared about when I played my Pokemon games back in the day. I didn't really put much weight behind, you know, my setup of Pokemon. You know, I wouldn't really put out Pokemon that could put down status effects first, and then put out Pokemon that would be strong against those element types. Because I realized that's how, like, professional Pokemon players do their thing, right? Is they kind of, like, make sure to have status effectors, damage dealers, that kind of jazz. I never did that. I was like, haha, damage. So anyway, I wasn't much of a game. I wasn't really great at the game back in the day. I just like big numbers.
Flamethrower in Zip Zap Zop's face, which totally killed him. That really sucked. He put in so much work for the team and really carried us this far. The rest of this fight's for you, Zip Zap Zop. Squidward came out, and together with Sin, were able to finish off the duo, getting us our 7th gym badge. Alright, Spurky, you're up.
Well, here we go again!
I think I single-handedly wiped out the entire water Pokemon population between Zip Zap Zop and Spurky. I went to Shell Cave and caught Blubby the Spheal, and went out to take on Maxie one last time. For some reason, I didn't learn my lesson when being underleveled for Tate and Liza, because I was even more underleveled for Maxie.
My Deanna. It doesn't go down!
How have your Pokemon not leveled up by this point? Like, the entire like gameplay of Pokemon is like if levels weren't an issue, you could burn through the entire game in like what, 2 hours probably. But like, the entire point is that every time you get to a new area, you're supposed to explore, level your characters up. And I'm pretty sure this wouldn't be her first time going through that. How do you not know that you're going to be running into Pokemon of this level? It's almost like Jaiden just doesn't give a about keeping her Pokemon alive.
This fight was rough. Chad was able to take out his Mightyena, but I resorted to Squidward when his Crobat came out.
Power Girl to the rescue.
Wasn't on my side here because Squidward was killed by a high roll wing attack. The way Pokemon works is there's a small range of damage an attack can do. It's not actually the
Huh? Math? The only thing I need to know is that you plus me is great.
the same all the time, and it's kind of based on chance. So even though it looked like Squidward could have lived 2 wing attacks, Maxie was able to get a low roll on the first one and a high roll on the second.
Oof.
Which was the death of Squidward. But it wasn't
Jaiden,
time to give up.
When are you gonna learn your lesson, girl?
For Squidward. Ari came in and took out the Crobat and lived on 1 HP when hit by Camerap's rock slide. It was a tough battle, but we squeaked by. Barely.
I'm gonna say, you know,
After
the
that
muscle
fight,
waifu Machamp kind of pulling it in clutch for everyone.
Seriously grind up the team again. If we were just a bit more underleveled, we would have been murdered. Blubby joined the team and we got to work, eventually arriving in Sutopolis. Steven and the Sutopolis gym leader
Embracing
Wallace
that fire
were there
type,
saying
aggressive
Groudon
bitch
was
energy.
in the cave because someone used the wrong orb and pissed him off. So I went in there, walked up
I love these legendaries. These were so cool.
to Groudon and master balled him immediately. There's no way I'm fighting.
Yeah, I did the same, to be honest. I learned my lesson the first time, but I used my Master Ball on the other one. I used my Master Ball on the blue legendary.
Groudon. Now get in the box. While fighting Wallace, Spurky was able to
Get
take
in the
out
box,
his
you
loved
legendary creature.
Concealio. Sin beat his Whiscash, and Chad finished off the Milotic. The team was perfect. And after obtaining our final gym badge, I knew we were ready for the Elite Four. We got through Victory Road. Wally tried to fight us for the last time, but he just needs to stop. We exited the cave,
Sit
and
down,
there
motherfucker.
it was, the final challenge. Here we go. Sydney was up first, and honestly, he wasn't a challenge at all. Chad and Teriyaki were...
I'm gonna say this now. I have a sneaking suspicion that Jaiden's hubris is gonna get the better of her, and she's gonna lose her entire team on the very last fight. Something is just hitting the back of my head with that.
Able to take care of his team with ease. Phoebe wasn't difficult either, with Sin and Blubby being MVPs. Glacio was a bit tougher. Teriyaki was able to take out her Glalie, and Spurky could handle her Celios, but her Walrein was the big problem.
Oh boy.
Walreins are thick, can tank a lot of hits, and can do a lot of damage. I would know, because I have one. I brought out Chad and she was able to get in a good amount of damage, but she was ultimately...
Oh, I love it when, like, Jaiden really knows the intricacy of, like, anime shot types. Like, again, as an animator, as somebody who, like, does this kind of stuff for a living myself, I love seeing animators and artists who understand composition, shot type, and know how and when to use it, because this shit looks cool. Like, that is such a powerful pose.
Killed by Blizzard. Sin came out to try and confuse it, but it broke through the confusion and landed a Sheer Cold. Sheer Cold is a one-hit KO move. It has a 30% chance of hitting the target and will fail if the target Pokemon's level is higher than the user's. But even under all those conditions, it hit, and Sin was killed. Two great team members, down and out. Chad was with us for so long and pulled so much weight, and Sin got us through some really tough battles. Even with those losses, we were able to finish Glacia off and move on to the final Elite Four member.
Like, I can't be the only one. Like, if I did this challenge when I first played these games all the way back when, it would have destroyed me. Because, you know, back when I was a wee lass, I was very much in the mindset of, like, Toy Story-itis, where, you know, I had an emotional connection to all my Pokemon. You know, I leveled them up, I cared for them, I loved them, I had my select team, and I had the benefit of being able to revive them and heal them. If I lost them, if they friggin' died on me, I would have put the game down. It would have been as bad as watching Meryl die in the original Metal Gear Solid games. That shit destroyed me.
Drake's got a tough team, but we've got a Blubby, and she wanted revenge for her fallen comrades. She ice beamed every single one of Drake's Pokemon. Just a straight up massacre. And with that, it was on to the last battle. Steven Stone. I was legitimately nervous. I led with Spurky to take out his Skarmory as quick as possible, and Blubby was able to take out his Claydol and Aggron, but
you know what? I'm gonna put this out there. If this video does well on YouTube, and if we maybe reach one of our next goals in the Donathon I'm doing currently, I might try Nuzzlocke on stream, because I've been looking for an excuse to play a Pokemon game on my Twitch streams. I think this might be what I do. Yeah, why not? Maybe we'll, like, emulate one of the older Pokemon games or play one of the newer ones. That could be fun.
Then came his Metagross. This might be the end. Metagross is Steven's strongest Pokemon, so I needed to hinder it as much as I could before it started doing serious damage. I knew his Metagross had Earthquake, which would definitely take out most of my team.
Earthquake,
so
equivalent
I had
of Bubble
to have
Beam, but for the
Spurky
ground.
Kamikaze to get a paralysis off. Blubby came out again, and after a lot of hard work, finally beat the Metagross. I always thought
Metagross was a legendary Pokemon.
Teriyaki was able to finish his Cradily, and his final Pokemon was
furries. You bunch of goddamn degenerates, the lot of ya. It's no rule against the Pokemon, bad man. There's no rule against the Pokemon, bad man. You want Lump Bunny? Well, I give you Blaziken.
Was Armaldo. Gary's final revenge for getting booted from the team. I brought out Blubby because Teriyaki was pretty weakened, and after realizing she gets two-shotted by him, I knew she was gonna have to die. So with a heavy heart, Blubby pulled off her last surf, getting Armaldo in the red, and was killed. Teriyaki,
shit.
the Pokemon who's been with us from the start, who's seen her friends die in front of her, the OG, refused to let any more murder happen.
Epic pose.
Onion, Corn, Zip Zap Zop, Squidward, Chad, Sin, Spurky, Blubby. Their zeros and ones won't go down in vain.
Gets one shot.
One good kick to the head, and we did it. We completed the Pokemon Ruby Nuzzlocke. Teriyaki and Ari were the only survivors, but the whole...
Something oddly poetic about that, I find. The two avian creatures, for Jaiden especially, considering her fascination with birds, I'm starting to think there might be a little bit of collusion here. I'm starting to think that maybe this was all part of the plan. Maybe Jaiden isn't such a nice person. Maybe she purposefully got all of her other Pokemon fucking did. Maybe it was the whole point to make it so that only the bird types would be alive at the end because she's a preferential. I know that might be a conspiracy theory. Maybe I'm reading too much into this. But I don't believe in coincidences. I don't believe in coincidences.
The team put in a lot of work to get us to number 1. A cheers to the true Mad Lads.
Oh, that's it. Yo, nice. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, if you watch this on YouTube, let me know what you thought. I know that Jaiden does have another Nuzzlocke video, so if you guys want me to watch that one as well, if this video does well, I will just go and watch it. Absolutely. This is great, though. This is, like, really motivating me to start playing some more Pokemon games. God, it'd be so nostalgic. So, yes, thank you for watching. Come by and join the Discord. Go check out our new waifu shakers and all that jazz, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye now.